Veronica Baiz, as some of you may know, and I stand before you first and foremost as a mother. I'm an Army veteran and Chief Operating Officer of a nationwide technology company, but most importantly today, I stand before you as a citizen who has watched our family courts betray the very families and my own children who they were built to protect. I want to begin by thanking every legislator in this country who has chosen to stand up for families and for truth. Those who are brave enough to say that justice should not depend on your bank account, your race, your gender, or your zip code. In particular, I want to thank my home state of Idaho and our dear friends in Arizona, where lawmakers have had the courage to hold hearings, confront uncomfortable truths, and put children, not institutions, at the center of the conversation. Idaho and Arizona have proven that bipartisan courage and collaboration are still possible in America. Across this nation, from Boise to Boston, from Dallas to DC, we are witnessing what I call the weaponization of expertise. Court-appointed professionals, psychologists, guardian ad litem's, parenting coordinators, they were meant to protect families, but too often they've become paid gatekeepers of power, funded by the very people they're supposed to serve. When a mother reports abuse, she is labeled as alienating. When a father seeks fairness, he is called aggressive. Expertise becomes a sword of slaughter instead of a shield, and justice becomes something you have to buy to survive. This isn't child protection, it's profit cloaked as professionalism. And when that broken structure is enforced by unaccountable judges, the result is the weaponization of the bench itself. Too many family court judges, including Judge Dan Walker in my very state, silence parents, seal cases, and punish speech under the guise of protection. They use their robes to become activists on the bench, to rewrite truth, and their power to erase accountability. In those moments, the courtroom becomes a battlefield, not of law, but of bloodshed and survival. The Constitution promises us due process, yet in family court, it is optional. Evidence becomes irrelevant, and the truth becomes dangerous. This isn't the rule of law, it's the rule of fear. And make no mistake, this system is draining our nation. Every year, over $100 billion is spent on family courts and child welfare agencies, yet the return on investment is negative. A loss of $10 to $18 for every $1 spent. This past week in Boston, I had the privilege of meeting with scholars from Harvard, Harvard Law, and MIT. Our discussion was family courts and the Madisonian Project, written by a dear colleague, Dr. Studervant, PhD. Professionals who previously may have never been alerted to the constitutional atrocities occurring in family court are examining this now under the framework of Troxel II. This analysis has now been submitted to 10 law reviews nationwide, bringing constitutional law and empirical economics together to show that what families have lived for decades, that the lower courts are not just mismanaging justice, they are committing crimes and they are violating civil rights. The data shows that for every one child truly protected, about 25 are wrongfully cut off from a fit parent, and nearly 2 abused children remain unprotected. In economic terms, it's a social loss exceeding $1 trillion a year. In moral terms, it's a national emergency. When conflict becomes a business model, justice is no longer the goal, profit is. And every dollar stolen from every parent in this room and every working parent is a dollar stolen from our children's future. The constitutional law powers that be, from Congress to our appellate courts, must take note. The evidence is no longer anecdotal, it is empirical, audited, and undisputable. History will look back in this era and call family court one of the greatest civil rights injustices of our time. Because what is happening behind those sealed doors is not family law. It is systemic deprivation of liberty. Parents are stripped of their children without due process. Children are stripped of their voices and of their innocence without consent. And truth is stripped of its meaning altogether. This is not a women's issue. This is not a men's issue. It is a human rights issue. So today, I call on Congress, every state legislator, and every citizen to act. Demand transparency, demand oversight, demand that the rights of parents and children be protected with the same passion we once reserved for voting rights and free speech. The foundation of a free nation is the family. And if the state can dismantle a family without accountability, then no right in this nation is safe. I want to close with this. To my children, Alexander, Michelangelo, Faithlin, Scarlett, Oliver, Charles, and Theodore, you are my reason for standing here today. Everything I do is to ensure that their pain was not in vain, and that their children, my grandchildren, never know the agony or injustice we have lived through in these courts. I want them to inherit a nation where truth is not punished, where families are not divided for profit, and where the law protects, not destroys. I thank God that these truths are finally coming to light, and that he continues to give us the strength, wisdom, and fortitude to stand in this fight. To our lawmakers, thank you for your courage. To every parent, you are not alone. This is unforever. Let this be the generation that restored justice to the family, truth to the courtroom, and in God we trust.